Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at the Carro Armato M13/40th, the Italian armored tank. Well, if you'd say it's car of armor, well, it's technically an armored car. Anyways, so this is the Tamiya kit. I got this one in Japan. It's 35th scale, and this is the reboot version, meaning that it comes with bonus parts and photo etch. And this was like the one that they released back in like 2018 or something. So, here is the camouflage for the North African front. And then here's your scheme that you'll use for it. So, this looks pretty easy to do. And then here is your finished version with the crew. Comes with photo etch and comes with 2 figures. Alrighty, let's open this one up and see what we have in here. Okay, first things first, Tamiya puts their photo etch on the roof of their box for some reason. And the thing about it is, it's impossible to remove without bending the photo etch, which is kind of annoying. They hot glue it, but here's your photo etch. And it comes with a barrel too. So it's the gun barrel. And then you have, looks like the license plate or something, and the Ansaldo plate. Alright. But yeah, the funny thing, when I got the kit, I thought that I got scammed out of the photo etch because it wasn't in there. And then I had to look on the top. It's on the back of the box. Okay. So, that's extra. Don't mind that. All right. So, let's start looking at our parts. So, the first one we have here is the Z sprue. The Z sprue has, let's see, it comes with updated crew figures. So it comes with the driver and an officer. And so this is the reboot figures from the original. And you have the little base where the officer can stand. You got their binoculars, their holstered pistols, vision goggles for the sand, as well as pretty detailed uniforms on here. You also get a box. So I guess if the officer needs to make a soapbox speech or something, you stand on there. And then the faces look pretty detailed. There are some seam marks on the dude's necks though, so a little bit of sanding will fix that. Alrighty, moving on. Here is the reboot kit. Reboot parts for the pioneering tools. So you get proper exhausts, you get a jack, and then looks like some parts to hold the stuff down. Unfortunately, it looks like the crowbar broke, but that doesn't look like too difficult of a fix. Should be able to just amend that together with some cement. The exhausts have good detail on the rivets on them, as well as the jack. Okay, moving on. We're just gonna go through the reboot parts first. So the reboot parts came with this kit in 2008, and that's when the upgrade kit came out. So the here you have your poly caps. These are just allow the front wheel to rotate when you're building the link and length stuff. So this is the drive sprocket. Sprocket's in the front, pretty fat one. And then here are your track links. So you have your long length here, your flat length here, curved lengths for the wheels, as well as the little lengths for the stuff between the wheels. And then you have 2 jerry cans, and then little very tiny little bits and bobs to secure the stuff down. You have a wire, a towing cable right here, and then the handle for the jerry cans. The grousers on these look very sharp. You can see the hinges individually, and then on the back they have the teeth. There are teeth that's raised, so that looks very good. And you will get 2 of these sprues, and this is the X sprue. Okay, so moving on from there, let's go to the original parts. So this was the original tooling back in, I think, 72. You can tell that this is the older one because the figure is noticeably not as good as the new one, but the details on here are still pretty sharp. So individual rivets on here and the hatches look very good. The base tank where the turret will go on. You got the guy's arm, the mounting for the machine gun, as well as the hatches. Then you have the little elevation mechanism for the gun, the front mantlet of the gun. So I guess it actually folds down a little bit. Interesting. The forward plate, so that's the driver's hatch, as well as the machine gun right here. The back of the turret, I'm pretty sure. Bottom of the turret, twin machine guns. The barrel, so the barrel is actually a single piece, which is pretty good. And the driver's hatch right here. The turret itself is multiple sheets of metal stamped around in a shape and then riveted together. And then you also have the hatch on the top, which is pretty good. Sweet. You also have the stop part for the radio. Alrighty, this is the C sprue. Looks pretty nice. Okay. Moving on, let's take a look at the hulls. Okay, I just launched that straight into my face. Almost gave me a heart attack. Alright, so here is the lower hull. The lower hull has a spot for the drive sprocket to sit, and then the spot for the suspensions, they'd go right there. The 3 return rollers and individual rivets on here look pretty good. And I guess that this thing was not originally a motorized kit, because if it was motorized, it would be larger. But since this was even very small for that time period, I guess they couldn't motorize it. So this was not an old motorized relic. But the top and the bottom halves, because that it was not motorized, the top and bottom halves would slide in very cleanly, and there won't be any gaps. Well, once this is removed. The top part has good riveting in the front. The edges have the little sponson looking thingies. The back has the engine hatches, the engine grills, and individual rivets on here all look very sharp. The individual hatches as well, the hinges look good. You can see copyright 1974. So this is the very old one. The interior can be built, and the interior has like the drive thing on the bottom. Interesting, because this one says copyright 1976, and this one's copyright 1974, meaning one of these parts is from the Semovente M40, which was that self-propelled gun that I had also built that one. But that's just an interesting thing. Okay, again, both of these have pretty sharp details. Moving on from here, we'll have the B sprue. The B sprue has the suspensions, the spare wheels, the front or the back engine part and the front cowling, the steps for the crew, ammo boxes, the track tensioner, fuel tank, exhausts, pioneering tools, and hooks for towing. And you can tell that this is the B sprue, and the way that it's written is a super old one. And that bar there likely would have said something about the copyright year for this, because at that time, Tamiya's toolings were a little bit weird. So that means that this kit, the tooling itself, had an interesting history. All right. Yeah, the individual suspensions all have pretty sharp details on the nuts and bolts going through them. Those would definitely take panel liner very well, and there aren't any the springs are right here. They just sit on top. The leaf springs look very good on these. Alrighty, moving on. Here are the wheels themselves, and then so yeah, you have your little wheels right here, the big wheels, drive sprockets, return rollers, and yeah, the return rollers on right there. So it's interesting. You can see the new wheel versus the old wheel. The new wheel has much better rivets than the old one. And you also have return rollers on the top. Okay. Lastly, let's take a look at our decals. So, the decals, you get a squadron number, emblem, and then the rank insignia for the crew, pretty sweet, a license plate, and you get the group numbers. The kangaroo decals are pretty nice. Might confuse yourself with building an Australian one though. Anyways, they're very sharp decals, so that looks good. Okay, moving these parts aside, let's take a look at our instructions. What are we building here? So, first things first, put the poly cap between the wheels, turn roller, and the road wheels. Put the suspension system together. Attach the front plate and the 2 return rollers. Then add the sprocket wheels. Then add the return rollers and the track tensioner. The idler wheel on the back and the back plate goes on. Then you build all 4 suspension systems and put them on there. Then individual link tracks. The links go on like this, and then they just fit on there. Here's the 1-to-1 scale for how you would put it on here. Then machine gun on the top, the little upper area for the driver. I'm tired. And then the turret. Turret comes in 3 pieces, as well as the elevation mechanism on the inside. Then you build the entire top part goes, actually, did I skip something? The machine gun goes on there, and then the top part goes down. Hatches go on. Top hull goes on the lower hull. Then the equipment and the parts, as well as the foot, the ladder goes there. Exhaust and pioneering tools, and then the hatches, machine gun, the light go on there. You paint the crewmen, so you have an officer and the driver, and the fuel tank. Then the photo etch parts goes on there. You CA glue for them, pretty sweet, and then you paint it, and you get some history for the painting schemes. And this is just like how you paint it as you choose. So that's pretty sweet. And you attach your decals like that. And you have 2 versions. So that's pretty sweet. Oh, this is the captured one. Huh. Australian captured one. Interesting. Anyways, that's it for this video. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.